Welcome to our new branch of the Lakewood Museum of the Living Torah Museum. The Living Torah Museum now has three branches. The one in Borough Park is focused on items that are mentioned in the Torah and in the Nevi'im. The one in the Catskills in Fallsburg, New York is focused on Mishnayos, every keli that's mentioned in the Mishnah. In fact, recently we helped Art Scroll give out the new Mishnayos on Masechtas Kelim. The one that we just opened in Lakewood is going to be focused on items that are mentioned in the Gemara, as well as the animal section. In Borough Park we have animals mentioned in the Torah. In the Catskills we have animals mentioned in the Mishnah, and in Lakewood we have animals mentioned in the Gemara. So this is the differences between the different branches. Also in Lakewood we're going to have a special presentation on Meleches HaMishkan and Avodas Beis HaMikdash. One of the Chafetz Chaim's dreams was that people should become very acquainted with Kachim and understand the Avodah of the Beis HaMikdash. Well, we're going to show you a lot of that here in our Lakewood branch. So let's talk about making the Mishkan. And to use an example, all the antiquities that we have here, these are originals, mostly coming from sunken ships in the Mediterranean Sea. And when we learn, for example, in Chumash, that it says that the zahav that was used for the Mishkan was zahav tar, was pure gold. In here we have fragments of ancient pure gold. And a very pure gold is very, very soft. In fact, if I were to take this piece of gold, I could bend it with my fingers. And it bends like paper. One of the nisim of making the Mishkan was that even though it was made with zahav tar, the kelim, the utensils, did not fall apart. And Rashi says, Miksha tasa oisa, you should actually hammer out the gold. So Rashi says they would take a kornus shel zahavim, a goldsmith's hammer. And this is a 2,000-year-old Roman period, Talmudic period goldsmith's hammer. And what you would actually do was you would take the gold and you would put it on a surface and start banging it into the shape that you wanted to. And that's what hammering with gold means. Now there's a special halacha about these hammers for Shabbos. Shabbos, these hammers, Chazal tell us, are not muksa. Why? Since you can also use it as a bottle stopper, then it has a use as well on Shabbos. So this is an actual kornus shel zahavim. In order to purify gold, they had this keli. This keli was called a kor. A kor was a keli to cook the gold. And they would cook it, and the impurities would come out. When the Yidden left Mitzrayim, it says, "Vayotzienu mikur habarzel mi Mitzrayim." Yidden were taken out of the smelting pot of Mitzrayim. So this is extremely important. We also have here another interesting thing that unless you see it, you can sit your whole life and learn Gemara and never understand what the Gemara is telling us. The Gemara says about the Menorah, the Geviim of the Menorah, the cups of the Menorah, L'mahin demin, what do they look like? So the Gemara says it looked like a Kois Alexandria. The Gemara Menachah says it looks like an Alexandrian cup. We have right here an actual Alexandrian cup. And notice it looks like an ice cream cup. There's no base to the cup. And what makes it very, very interesting, the Alexandrians were very smart people, but they were also big shikurim. They used to like to drink. So if you came to a party and someone gave you a cup to drink that you couldn't pour it down, you kept filling it up again and again and again. So the Gemara tells us, what did the cups of the Menorah look like? Kimin Koisias Alexandria. This is a 2,500-year-old Alexandrian cup that you're actually looking at. This was found on a shipwreck, and you can actually see some of the white coral that's still on it. When something sits under the sea, the white items that grow on it is coral. Coral is called in the Mishnah al-moigim, and the Bartanura says shekurin oise coral. When Shlomo HaMelech sent boats, it says in Tanakh, in Malachim, he sent boats and they brought back atzei al-moigim. Rashi wrote coral. So this is what something looks like. In fact, this was also found on a sunken ship. This is what's called a machta. And right over here, you could see the white coral that's still on it. Everyone who had a house would have had one of these shovels in order to clean out the ashes from their fire. But the Beis HaMikdash would have had a gold, long-handled one. And Rashi says a machta has 3 walls. 1, 2, 3. So you can see what a machta would have looked like. The Beis HaMikdash's machta would have had a much longer handle, so the Kohen Gadol could actually put it into his ribs. But this shows you what a machta actually looks like. So we're going to be showing you a lot of interesting things about the Beis HaMikdash in this section. And now I'm going to show you not only do we have here a model of the Beis Hamikdash, but just like in Yeshivas Chachmei Lublin, right when you came into the lobby of Yeshiva, there was a big model, so whoever was learning could actually see. With this tour, you're going to get a detailed description of everything in every single room of the Beis Hamikdash, what happened in that specific room. And now we're going to move to our animal section of the museum, and we have animals that are mentioned both in the Gemara as well as animals that are mentioned in Tefillah. And right here we have an actual tayish, an actual goat. And the goat that's a male is called a tayish. You can see his actual beard. And when Yaakov Avinu sent to Esav a gift, he sent Tiyashim, and he sent also Se'iris, which we have here in the museum as well. And this is a taxidermied stuffed goat. The eyes are fake, the inside is plastic, the skin is real, and the horns are real. This right over here is the Re'im. This is known as the oryx. Bechor Share Hadelor Vikarne Re'im. So there are a few different types of Re'aims. The type that's mentioned here in the Pasuk is referring to the Gemsbok, the oryx. And you can look at his straight horns. This right over here is an ayil. This is a ram. And you can see from his horns we make shofars right over here. This is a preserved taxidermy actual ram. This is a flying turkey. There's a whole discussion, why could we eat turkeys today if it's a bird that doesn't have a Menorah? We have a whole presentation on the question about why we eat turkeys. As you move closer here, we have here a leopard. This is the Nomer, jumping up to catch a gazelle. Now most people who learn about a tzvi think that a tzvi is a deer. But the Gemara says that you can make shofars from the Karen HaTzvi. You can't make shofars from the horns of a deer. So Reb Sadi Gaon says that the tzvi is the gazelle. And if you look at his horns, from his horns you could actually make shofars. This right over here is a hyena. And this is one of the shittas of Bardalis. There are two kinds of Bardalis. The larger Bardalis, one of the shittas is the hyena. And most people make a mistake thinking that a koif is a monkey. Well, actually, Rashi says a koif, he uses the old French word for an ape. And a kipud is a monkey, or a kifufa is a monkey. So this over here is an actual monkey with his mouth open. Right here, we have a full-size lion, and this over here is a very, very beautiful lion. And we're standing next to a bear, as well as next to a wolf. If you learn the Mishnah, ein moichrin la'akum, it's also for a yid to sell to a goy an animal that could be mazik de tzibur. Well, this, you're standing right now in the middle of the Mishnah. This is what the Mishnah is talking about. The za'ev, the ari, the doiv, the bardalis, which we just saw. That's what you can see. And here we have a shual. There's a machlokes of a shual. There's a fox, it's a jackal. You can see that here as well. Also, we have an entire room which is dedicated to the animals mentioned in the Talmud, in the Gemara. And if you look this way here, this entire room has every single one of the animals that are mentioned in the Gemara. And we have a full 1 hour presentation showing each and every animal. What's the koi or the kvi? And what is the ta'oi? What is the turvula? Each and every one of the animals that are mentioned by Chazal, and we show you how the animals live in the wild and all the things that Chazal teach us about these animals. We will now walk into our section on Shmoyne Shratzim. What are the Shmoyne Shratzim according to all the Shittas? And this room right here is all the Shmoyne Shratzim that are mentioned according to all the Shittas, and we have a full presentation on the Shmoyne Shratzim. So whether you're learning Chumash, Parsha Shmini and Parshas Re'eh, or whether you're learning Perek Shmoyne Shratzim, you can actually see here, we went back to every word Rashi wrote in Old French, Reb Sadia Gaon wrote in Arabic, the Ralbag and the Radak wrote in Old Spanish, and identified every one of these creatures in their languages. And this was one of the dreams of many Gedolei Yisrael, that finally can learn and see the actual preserved animals. Zois hachaya. These are the actual animals. Tanur shel achnoi. This is the achnoi. Look how he coils his body around. And they used to make ovens in the shape of a sitting coiled snake. This is what's called an achnoi. This is what's called an achnoi. And now we're going to go into our final section that we're going to show you today, which is the animals of davening. Many Gedolim, Reb Chaim Kanievsky, Reb Eliashiv, and many other Gedolim asked me to make a section that people, when they daven, should understand the animals of tefillah. Koil Hashem Yechol Hayals. What's the pasuk talking about? People go to shul, they daven, they don't understand the references on that. So in the next room, we're going to show you each and every one of the animals that are mentioned in davening. Al shachal v'fesen tidroich. Pisonim are cobras, and right here we have an actual preserved spitting cobra. And on a special film, we will show you him in action. And we explain each and every one of the references of the psukim of davening. And here we have all of davening and all the kinds of shofars that you can use based on what Chazal tell us. Which shofars you can use. What's the shofar shel Yael? We show you all the different shofars. What's a chaya? What's a behema? All the different references. What is kruchos? What is mifutzalos? What's mivutzalos? When we learn about all the different horns, in this section we will show you all that. And finally, in the upstairs section, we have every single one of the antiques mentioned in Shas. What's a kad, what's a chavis, what's a kisan shomayim, every single one, and we show you how we know each and every one of these things. So come and visit our new branch in Lakewood, and hopefully you will garner a better understanding of things that you learn about. That's why we call it the Living Torah Museum. We bring to life everything that you're actually learning about. Thank you.